Very wet.
Water everywhere.
My roommate and I decided to travel to Iceland for 5 days to celebrate our last college year. We planned this trip for 3 months during the semester and were incredibly looking forward to this trip, and it is happening right now. As soon as we arrived at the airport, we rented our car and met our carpool partner, which became our travel buddy later on. Iceland. We're heading to Reykjavik right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Driving.
So, hey. This is Savannah from Edmonton, Canada. And we just met in couchsurfing. So, and then we're planning to trip in Reykjavik. Look at this. Amazing. Grocery shop, and we're trying to buy the water. 439 coronas, so which should be around $3 for this water. After grocery shopping, we explored downtown Reykjavik. We saw some Voyager and Hallgrímskirkja, which is 244 feet, and it is the largest church in Iceland and among the tallest structure in the country. Second destination, Hallgrímskirkja Cathedral. Next destination was at Snæfellsnes at Snæfellsnes National Park. We drove up north about 3 hours. Views along the way were super spectacular and magical. No wonder why Game of Thrones show were taken at this country. When we arrived, we hiked at one of the hardest trails in Iceland, and it took us about 2 hours back and forth. Almost to the top. We got to the top of Iceland, and we're ready to go down.
Yep.
We're just
good. Yes.
Epic.
Look at this. This high low and Savannah. And
It's
hard to view is
breathtaking.
breathtaking. And just taking a little break. How was hiking for your first hiking experience?
Very wet.
Very wet.
Water everywhere.
Yeah, she got
Yeah.
all the
both
socks
of our-
wet.
Yeah. Both
Look at
of
this.
our shoes are just
So
all,
muddy.
like, brown and stuff.
Oh,
Waterproof hiking, insulation shoes. Always
Yeah.
helps.
good preparations. On the way to next destination, which was Snæfellsnes National Park, we quickly swing by volcanic crater lake. We didn't get to see the lake in the whole, but it was still amazing. This is active volcanic mountain, and it's called Sakho. Finally, we arrived at the park. We parked our car and trekked along the coast. The Snæfellsnes Peninsula coastline is very varied. Rocky coves alternate with black sand beaches, light sand beaches, and precipitous sea cliffs that teem with seabirds in the nesting season. I definitely flew drone here, and I was so mesmerized with the view of Iceland again. The seamless color of the wave and the cliff give perfect harmonious cinematic views that you will ever see. Next stop is Geyser. So we're hiking up to the top of the geyser, which is part of the Golden Circle. And that geyser blows off every 20 minutes, and we waited for an hour to see the multiple explosions. There's an eruption coming out. Oh! Yeah! Look at it! Wait! Ah, tiny one. Goose Falls waterfall. And this was our last stop of day 1. After finishing grocery shopping for our second day trip at Bonus Grocery Shop, we dropped by famous breakfast place to explore some of the traditional Icelandic foods such as lobster soup and bread. We tried some beers later on, but wasn't as great than we expected. Food, having some brunch over here, and got pastry, and Savannah got some lamb soup. How was it?
It's hot. It's really good.
Alright, we're going to the I'll read it. Second day in Iceland. We're about to head out to Seljalandsfoss Falls, which is one of the most popular, biggest waterfall in Iceland, and we'll drop by the
Thermal hot spring.
Thermal Hot Spring River, which is going to be a highlight of today. So we arrived at the Seljalandsfoss Falls. Huge water dropping down.
It's big boy.
We walked towards to the Seljalandsfoss Falls to get the utmost feeling of waterfall rush. Unique thing about this waterfall is that we can go behind the fall to take pictures. We did a lot of photo shoot sessions and we became soaking wet. Rain jackets are incredibly necessary in this Iceland trip. While they at waterfall hiking, soaking wet.
What?
And just arrived at Skoga Falls. Next stop is Skoga Falls, which is famous for Game of Thrones Season 8 film site. This waterfall was incredibly majestic. There was a hiking trail where you can see the bird's eye view of this waterfall. And the bathroom view was amazing as well. We kept driving to the east and finally arrived at Reynis Fjera Beach, which is known as Black Sand Beach. I was super stoked to be at this place because you can take the most cinematic National Geographic footage and photographies here. Season 7 of Game of Thrones were taken at this place. Next, we drove 2 hours back to Reykjavik and dropped by Thermal Hot Spring. Getting up to the destination took us 2 hours back and forth, but it was insanely worthy. We just arrived in geothermal Hot Spring River. This is truly magnificent and amazing.
She's enjoying that.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. I'm enjoying it. So, wish there's a cold beer though.
Today's our third day, and we're heading over to Plane Wreckage that we missed yesterday. Plane Wreckage was a super unique place. Getting to the actual site requires 1 hour walk, otherwise you have to pay a lot of money for the riding a bus. We met a traveler from Brazil and built a good relationship along the trail to the site. We shared our pictures and stories, and that was a lot of fun. After, we went back to downtown to have a dinner with our couch surfing host before we get to Blue Lagoon. Hi. So we're at one of the great Icelandic restaurants here. We ordered some pastas, quesadillas, and some fish and chips. And this is Marcin. He's my host that I met in couchsurfing, and he's a beautiful, his wife and daughter. Dinner was excellent, and after that dinner we went for a walk to hidden waterfall in downtown Reykjavik that only local people know of. Marcin said we could see crazy bunnies at that park as well. We had a great time roaming around the park with him and his wife and daughter. Yeah, it's a video, India. Yeah.
It's a good time.
Bye. We're about to arrive at Blue Lagoon finally. Highlight of day 3 in Iceland. Yeah. Blue Lagoon is known as the most visited spot in Iceland and geothermally heated water that is rich with silica, minerals, and algae surrounded by lunar lava landscape. This place is dope for training your mind, body, and soul. Alright, we are finally in Blue Lagoon. This is
right.
unbelievable. And this band will give us free drinks at that bar over there.
And a mask.
And got my beer. Yes. So we just finished Blue Lagoon. And how would you describe your experience at Blue Lagoon?
It's definitely relaxing, and if you come to visit Iceland, 100% recommend. And if you don't come to Blue Lagoon, doesn't that mean like why even here? Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to come here.
Last day in Iceland. We didn't really get a time to tour in downtown, so we decided to tour in the morning and afternoon in Reykjavik on the last day. There was a massive parade or protest going on, which was about St. Patrick's Day's size. We dropped by some gift shops and iconic Icelandic restaurant to taste its seafood cuisine. Just arrived at Avi's budget car rental. We're officially back to Keflex at airport. Just finally going back to Boston now. So yeah, in 5 hours our trip is complete. And that was our epic Iceland trip.